We're now joined by behavioural specialist Loraine Marer. So why are we all so rubbish at this?
I think because we I think if you break it down, men really only have to think about what's on the football.
That's what you were going to say, isn't
And
it?
the what?
Themselves.
Themselves. No, I'm going to be a little bit more polite than that. They really have to... They think about, you know, what they're doing. See, that was better.
Yeah, well done.
And what the football tonight and that lady just passing has got rather a nice rear end and, you know, things like that.
So you say that men prioritise?
It would seem.
Yeah.
Whereas women are kind of, they're pulling into the car park, and as they're pulling in there, they've maybe got a child who goes, I'm hungry, can I have a chocolate muffin? Right, in the back, and then they've got to think about what they need and what's for supper and what can they do tomorrow. And there's all this
And also all the men's stuff, like the brother's birthday, getting the card for them, all of that.
Yeah,
so you've got an information overload, haven't you, going on?
I think very much so, and I think as well that because we live in a big city, I think there's huge pressure, more pressure when you live in a big city. And I also think that women in particular are under... Are you not very busy then? Well, what do you do all day? You know, if you don't go to work and run the home and go to take your children to school and nursery and go and visit your elderly mother, there is like, well, what do you do?
OK, so,
all day?
Loraine, what's the answer then? Is there something you can do? Can we help Kate, essentially? It's what we're after. What can we do? Is it in order to sort of clear the mind, so actually when you park your car or when you're trying to plug your children into the back seats, you actually choose your own car rather than somebody else's?
Well, that's a good point. I use a whiteboard. I tell all my families to use a whiteboard, put a big whiteboard up in the kitchen. And this is really quite important on a serious note, because before you go to bed, your mind is full of all the things that you've got to do. If you dump it onto that whiteboard and put an initial next to it, so K for Kate, B for Ben, da-da-da, everybody knows what they've got to do. We are teaching people to take responsibility for themselves and the things they have to do. Women are not good at delegating, so delegate by using the whiteboard, and then you can go to bed with a clear mind and have a good sleep.
So it's kind of like a brain dump.
Very much a brain dump, yeah.
We've had so many texts. There are lots of very entertaining texts. Steve says, my wife was driving, we drove into a petrol station, I jumped out, filled up her car, paid for it, jumped back in the car, sat down, put the pen and paper, started talking to the woman sat next to me, and I'd got in somebody else's car. That happened quite a lot.
Brilliant.
Jim says, I lost my truck in a Dover truck stop.
Wow.
It took an hour to find it.
You made me feel good, Jim.
It's 42 foot long and weighs 40 tonnes.
But there are so many that look the same.
Yes, and if you use a place regularly, like a supermarket, car, whatever, and you've used it several times, you forget on that particular occasion where you left it, don't you?
Pauline says, years ago, my hubby went to the shops on his motorbike. He walked home with the helmet and the shopping and left his bike at the shop. And then...
He's actually got that.
Yeah, he's got everything. And then one last from, this is for William, but this is for you, Kate. And it says, until technology allows, I can stand beside your car while you go shopping with a big red hat in exchange for one of your amazing smiles.
Oh, there you go. Well, it's a date.
William
It's an absolute date.
William, it'll take you 5 minutes and you'll be fed up, trust me.
That's not
Thank
nice.
you.
My
Thank you very
pleasure.
much.
My pleasure, as always.